Okay. So as I mentioned, I'm the director of the Technology Law and Policy LLM here at Georgetown. It's a great program, and I'm really excited to share a little bit about it and to answer some of your questions. So the Technology Law and Policy LLM is designed for students, both US trained and foreign trained, who have an interest in technology law. So that can bring in a really diverse cohort. We get lots of foreign trained students. We also get lots of US trained students. We get students who have lots of work experience. We get students who are sort of just starting out, coming out of a general education program and hoping to really specialize in the tech area. And our curriculum is designed to account for that diversity and provide flexibility to students who are in different situations. So for our US trained students, the degree is 20. For our foreign trained students, the degree is at least 20 credits. For US students, that 18 of those need to be tech classes. Foreign trained students, 14 of those credits need to be tech classes. And we have an amazingly broad tech curriculum here at Georgetown. One of the great benefits of our size and our location here in Washington, D.C., which is the nation's capital, gives us the ability to offer a really amazing array of classes. Some subject matter areas that have been of really significant interest to our students for the last couple of years are artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, fintech, so like cryptocurrency, other emerging tech areas like biotech, social media. Really do have it all here. And we also have sort of the background classes that are needed to sort of jump into those more specialized areas if that is something you need. Our students also have, as part of the program, a capstone project, which gives them an ability to really dive deeply into a subject matter and produce something that sort of shows off to employers their skills and their expertise in these areas. So we have one class that is automatically approved for the capstone called Advocacy in the Digital Age. It's taught by two longtime advocates here in DC, and it's specifically tailored for our foreign trained LLM students. They take it all together. It's closed to just the tech LLM students, and it is focused on advocacy skills in the tech space. There are also other options. Students can write a substantial academic paper on a tech topic. They can take a practicum, so a skills-based class, and they can also do an externship. I think externships are a really great experience for LLM students, both US trained and foreign trained, because they give you real life work experience here in DC. So those are a really great opportunity. US trained students can take them all year long, and foreign trained students can take those in the spring. Another area of our program that I wanted to highlight is our career planning resources. Again, I mentioned Georgetown size. It's the largest law school in the US. It has a significant LLM cohort every year. And part of what that means is that we have so many resources available for job searching, skills building, and networking. So I highlighted a couple of them on this slide. We have an Office of Graduate Careers that is specifically focused on professional development, networking, and job training for LLM students. We have one office that works with our JD students and one office that works with our LLMs. So they're really dedicated and knowledgeable resources for LLM students specifically. I'm based in the Institute for Technology Law and Policy, which also is available. I'm also available for sort of one-on-one career development meetings. I also can help connect students with alumni, specifically in tech. We host career events specific for our students, and we provide a lot of mentoring. You'll also get a visa advisor here at Georgetown who can provide guidance on OPT, guidance, timelines, all of those things that are really important for foreign trained students. We have somebody dedicated to knowing those things inside and out. We have a writing center here that helps with your writing skills, whether it's for a class or for a writing sample or both. And then there are a lot of connections here in DC. I think the LLM alumni, both from the Tech LLM and from other LLM programs here at Georgetown, as well as the other industry groups and bar associations that are based here in DC, mean that there are a ton of opportunities for free events, for networking, for connecting with other students and alumni who are in a similar position to you, or or have sort of been in your shoes in the past. I see there's a question in the chat, so I'll pause to take that. Are students who opt for the tech LLM provided any priority in terms of course selections? If I was to opt for the general LLM and wanted to take some tech specialization courses, would there be a concern in terms of priorities for the course? So thank you for this question. It's a great one. I will say that our students do have priority in certain tech classes. So because our students need at least 14 tech credits for foreign trained students and 18 credits for US trained students, we do need to make sure that all of our students are able to meet their graduation requirements. So that requires putting some priorities in place around registration. Typically, that is particularly pronounced in the fall. So if there are specific questions that, maybe you have interdisciplinary interest and you're looking at certain types of tech courses. I've been here for a few years and I have a good sense at this point of sort of where are the courses more popular. And so some of those restrictions are often needed versus where is the class, maybe it's a very large lecture and so there's space for everybody, or maybe it is tends not to be a priority among the tech LLM students so that we don't need those restrictions. So that I think I would say, depending on the specific classes you're interested in, I may be able to give more information. But as a general matter, yes, there is priority in the tech classes for the tech students. Looks like there is another question from a student who already has an LLM degree and wants to do another one to take the bar exam, and whether that opens another OPT. I'm not 100% sure of that question. As I mentioned, we have a dedicated visa advisor here who works really closely with the students on their specific situation and knows the OPT and J1, F1 requirements and elements inside and out. So I would refer you to Ryan. He's excellent, and he would be your visa advisor if you were to enroll here. So that would be my recommendation there. Any other questions, either in the chat or from someone live before we move on from curriculum and job search resources? Okay. I want to talk a little bit about our community here at the law school. I think it offers a lot of opportunities for students to get involved in the ways that are exciting to them. We have a lot of students take on research assistant and fellowship positions here within the law school community. Walia, do you mind if I ask you to come off mute and share a little bit of your experience there? I know you're a research assistant for us at the Tech Institute, but you've also had other positions as well. So I'd love to hear about your campus work positions.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Can you get me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, just what Mary Pat has said, there's a plethora of opportunities for students if you want to immerse yourself in work opportunities, depending on your visa restrictions or requirements. For me, currently I work as a student assistant at the student accounts office. Is basically more like secretarial work, just taking inquiries from students about their finances and payments. But much more, and that has been a great experience, but much more important for me because I was kind of stepping into the tech space. I really wanted to get practical work experience in the field of technology law. So I applied for research assistantships at the technology, Georgetown's Tech Institute for Law and Policy, and also at the Center on Privacy and Technology, and I got both of those research assistantships. So I hold 2 research assistantships. They have been really great and amazing opportunities because it's basically taking up the things that I learn in class in my different courses and seeing them in practice, conducting research on different issues like AI and the global south, on surveillance issues, and things that are very um, topical and things that I'm passionate about. So that's definitely something that I would encourage you to take up. They do put up the adverts. And then besides that, there are also like fellowships. Depending on what they want, you can definitely reach out for those opportunities, and they are definitely something that you would enjoy as a student. And it's a way to also enhance and build your resume as you are working, because not only would you have been acquiring the 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 academic knowledge in class, but by the time you're graduating, your resume also has got very practical experience. And all the institutions that are affiliated to Georgetown are really, really ranked amongst the best think tanks. So that is definitely killing two birds with one stone. Yeah.
And I think we have a related question because sort of I know a lot of students are in law school, both as well you pointed out, because they're interested in the work that a professor or an institute is doing, but also to be able to work while they're a student. And there's a sort of similar finance question about scholarships for the law school, and scholarships are awarded by the Office of Graduate Admissions. Those your sort of all applicants are considered automatically for merit-based scholarships. And I think just the one thing to add on merit-based aid is that it's sort of first come, first serve. So if you've been sort of on the fence about whether to apply, but it's something that's of interest to you and it might be of more interest to you, if there was merit aid available, I would encourage you to go ahead and get your materials in as soon as possible. You can always decide, to accept or not accept, but there is sort of a priority among early applicants for those aid packages. So do consider that. And I think there are a couple of curriculum questions in the chat as well that I will get to when I move on to the next slide. But just to highlight a couple other aspects of the student experience, I wanted to flag that we have a lot of student groups here that are focused on tech issues: the Cyber Law Society, the Space Law Society, the National Security Law Society, the Student Intellectual Property Association, the Georgetown Law Technology Review, Academic Journal. It's like a place where there's a lot of students focused on these issues and a lot of different interesting ways to get involved. We also have events, especially at the Tech Institute. We hosted specifically for our tech LLMs a coffee with Professor Filippo Lancieri, who is an expert in privacy, AI, and antitrust. That was at the beginning of the semester. And we host a showcase for LLM students who are doing research on cutting edge areas. This year, our showcase will be on global perspectives on AI and law. And Walia, as our student assistant, is helping to put that opportunity together for the current LLM cohort. And it looks like there's a follow-up student on how much time in advance is recommended to apply for the LLM. The applications have been open since October. So again, if you're interested, I would definitely move to finalize your application materials and get those in within the next couple of weeks.
Mary Pat,
Yeah.
just something that I'd also like to add. There is this, I think Mary Pat should have been Mary Pat or the Georgetown Technology Policy Initiative. They shared this amazing opportunity on a dinner series for civic entrepreneurship some 3-4 weeks ago, and we basically had to apply. I applied for that and I got picked, and so we're basically having like, it's a very semi-formal setup where like different students from um, other schools outside the law school, as well as law students, those people who are interested in issues to do with technology, meet up every Wednesday evening. And so it happened yesterday for the first time. It's going to go on for the next 7 or 8 weeks. We meet up, and basically there's these amazing people who are doing a lot of amazing work, civic entrepreneurs. Yesterday we had an official that has been working on AI in the White House, and he was basically just showing us the day in the life of his work and giving us practical insights of how things are working. And then there's also this amazing professor who's a public service fellow who was the senior advisor to the director on AI in the White House. She's the one that moderates the sessions. And so that's one of the many amazing opportunities and engagements that are there for. And then as a tech LLM or MLT, you have so much advantage when it comes to such things because it's very easy to justify your interest. So those are other opportunities to look out for as a student here. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that you're participating in that series. It's a great example of one of the other opportunities that's available here in DC. The law school is sort of next door to the public policy school. We share connected buildings, and this series is being run out of the public policy school, but we have lots of connections with them. So the student group that is running it sends everything to me. I send everything out to the students. So there's lots of communication about different available opportunities. I see a couple more questions in the chat that are specific to the admissions process. So how long does it take for the decisions to come out? We do our best to turn those around pretty quickly within, a couple of weeks after the materials are complete. Nothing is reviewed until everything is in. So if you're waiting on sort of one letter of recommendation, that can hold up your application. So do sort of be attentive to everything that's required. And is there a formal procedure for applying for the fee waiver? I believe so. You'll see the fee waiver. And if anyone is thinking about the waiver for the English language proficiency test, there's information about that as well on the general graduate admissions website. They have an FAQ section that sort of picks through some of those specific application questions. I wanted to move on to frequently asked questions because I see some of them are coming up in the chat and they are good questions. So I want to make sure I get to them. So one question is, does the program prepare students for the bar exam? So most students who take a US bar exam take a separate study course in the summer, in the sort of May, June, July months ahead of the July bar exam. We also have students decide to take the February bar exam the following winter. And I think the one thing to highlight is that certain bar exams require foreign trained students from certain countries to take classes from a specific list. We do offer a multitude of classes from that specific list. And it is very possible and very common to balance that list with the 14 tech specialization credits. We have a couple of classes that are on both lists, so they count toward those bar requirements, and they count toward your tech credits. And students, you have to pay attention to those things. You can't sort of like leave it until the last minute and hope you got every box checked. But students are great at balancing that. I'm really available to meet with students on their specific classes that they want to take towards those two requirements and sort of be a sanity check on making sure that every box you need to check being checked, both for the bar and for the tech degree. There's also a question in the chat about whether it's possible to pursue a JD at Georgetown in connection with this LLM program. I will say that is something that we're talking about internally. Currently, our interaction with JD students is primarily through a specialized program that we have for JD students that is similar to, but not exactly the same as the LLM program. But there is some conversation internally about whether we should open a JD LLM. So where students are coming out with both degrees. And I would say if you're interested in that, definitely send me an email after the session, and I'd be really interested in hearing sort of about your thinking and whether it would be helpful for me in deciding whether it's something that we will pursue. Let me check the chat. Awesome. I will look out to hear from you. I will put my email in the chat as well. It's on our website, but this will sort of make it easy for everyone to get it if they need it. And I'm happy to sort of meet and answer any One more admissions question regarding the priority application deadline. Are you considered a foreign trained attorney even if you don't currently practice? Yeah. So when we think about training, it's basically, do you have an LLB or another foreign conferred degree, or do you have a JD from a U.S. law school? So that's sort of how we divide our thinking in terms of how we categorize the student. Okay, and feel free to keep putting questions in the chat. I think I've gotten through everything that's in there now. So if I missed you or you have this is spawning more questions again, please feel free to keep dropping them in. And I'll go over a couple more sort of general questions that are commonly asked in these types of sessions. So a lot of times students want to know, when will I know for sure what's going to be on the schedule for next year, whether the classes are going to be for me. We publish those in the spring, so it's usually in April or May. It sort of depends on factors outside my control. But I do send a note out to admitted students once that schedule does come out, so you can start taking a look at what's of interest to you, and it can be helpful sometimes for making a decision on whether to enroll. And I also have a little screenshot on here. Our current year's curriculum is also like a really good resource for getting a sense of what's going to be on next year. I can't always guarantee that every single thing that is scheduled this year will be back. We might have some new options. We might have some professors returning from sabbatical or research leave. But this is a good way to get a sense of sort of what our curriculum looks like and the sort of broad array of classes. You can see the website at the top, curriculum.law.georgetown.edu. Again, that's public. You can see the sort of second filter will let you filter down for the technology law and policy LLM program. So if you're committed to the tech program, that will tell you sort of what counted toward our requirements this year. There was also a question earlier from somebody who was on the fence between tech and maybe a general LLM. Looking at the filter for what is counted toward the tech LLM will help you get a sense of what classes, if they're of interest to you, you might want to follow up with me and get a sense of the availability. I'll tell you where there might be some restrictions around tech classes that are interesting. What type of support is available for registration? I would say I sort of vary the support in terms of what the students need. Some students want to hit the ground running. They don't need help. They set their schedule up. They figure out the bar stuff. And I basically barely hear from them after we sort of get through initial enrollment and orientation. Other students, they want to know, what's the difference between these professors? What's the difference between these classes? How should I think about scheduling classes with exams versus papers? What does it mean if this class doesn't seem to have exams or papers? And so I can help with all those things. I can meet as many times as you need or as few times as you need. I can provide institutional knowledge where it's available. I can connect you with past students where that's something that would be helpful. And I would say just keep in communication with me about what you need and we can make it happen. I do try to be really available to our students. I won't put Wally right on the spot to tell you if she thinks that's been her experience as well, but you can also reach out to her after the fact and get an unbiased view while I'm not on the Zoom of her experience there. We've talked a little bit about student hiring, and I'll just touch briefly on jobs. I think our students are really interested in a wide variety of careers. Well, I'll ask you a little bit to share your plans in a minute, but I will say it's really varied. Some students come in really dedicated to returning back to the countries they're coming from or returning back to a government or military career that they're already enmeshed in. Other students are thinking more about a pivot or a potential job search. So we do support sort of all types of career paths and happy to work with people on individual goals and needs, whether it's private sector, public sector, US or other countries. And Wally, if you can share some of your career goals and sort of how you've worked towards those during your time with us, that would be great.
Yeah, sure, Mary Pat. Yeah, you are definitely not overselling your availability to help because I think that I was one of those. I was one of those that would come knocking every time, just confused because sometimes there's a lot of stuff that you have to do and then you think you understand it, but then you don't. So yeah, Mary Pat is very helpful. Um, in terms of what I am working, so just a brief background about myself is I am from Zambia, and I have been practicing law there for a little over 7 years. I was working in the public policy space on human rights and governance issues. And these are things that I've been very passionate about. I did have a first LLM from the University of Pretoria in human rights and governance. And so when I got into the fellowship to study at Georgetown, um, picking the tech LLM was a very easy choice for me because um, technology is literally in everything that we are doing as lawyers, whether you are interested in business, corporate, tax, environmental law, or international economics, or literally anything you can think of. Technology is now at the center. It's a topic of discussion, not only in the United States, but from even our respective countries as foreign trained lawyers. So it was a very easy pick for me. And obviously I'm biased, but someone asked if they should do the general LLM or the tech LLM. Please take the tech LLM. It also sounds fancy. Yeah, so when I did during my time here, I've always been kind of working towards working long term at the intersection of technology and public policy. So I'm kind of making a pivot, but not so much of a pivot because I have this experience that I want to enhance with my expertise in technology, law, and policy. And so most of in fact, me seeking out opportunities as research assistants, as a research assistant at both the Tech Institute and the Center on Privacy have been me building up towards that, aligning myself to opportunities like that. I also got an externship and I'm currently working at the Federal Trade Commission's Office for International Affairs as a consumer protection and privacy intern, focusing on digital markets in Africa. And that I started the externship like last week, and it has been a great experience so far. I mean, I just started, but I can really see how that is building me up and modeling me towards finding opportunities in the things that I'm passionate about. That's the intersection of technology and public policy. So yeah, it's basically taking those steps. I do intend on working in the US market for several reasons because the US is one of the like the leaders in issues to do with policy, especially around technology. So I am seeking out opportunities. Mary Pat shares several of those opportunities with the Office for Graduate Careers. Also share some um, opportunities, although those are more tailored towards the general LLM population, but the ones that come from Mary Pat are usually tailored to a person that is studying technology, law, and policy. So yeah, I think that's that. I will keep you posted. But I'm very hopeful and excited about the opportunities that lie ahead. Just taking one step at a time, one day at a time, doing the very best that I can, but also being very strategic and proactive in seeking out opportunities that would then enhance my expertise and experience for the type of things that I want to work in. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing all of that with us. I also excited to hear more about your externships the longer you're there. I can't stress enough what a great experience that has been for our past students. I think even just the process of interviewing for externships, it gives you a real window and insight into the US market and into how you sort of like interact with the dynamics here. It's good networking, and the work experience itself, I think, is really really valuable. So I hope that all of you who are joining the call, keep that in mind if you decide to enroll with us. And I'm happy to work with you on your interests, where students have been in the past, and where you might want to turn a sense of interest. I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I'll keep going. But again, feel free to drop those in or come off of mute. I just wanted to end with a little plug for either going onto our website and reviewing some interviews that we've done with our former students, and or reaching out to me to connect with former students. I think, I can sit up here and describe the program all day, but I think our students really help sell it the best themselves. Is one of the reasons I asked Walia to join today. And it's one of the reasons I sort of closed with this. I think our students have been amazing. They go on to do great things, and they can sort of tell you in their own words what really worked for them, what would they have wanted to see in their year, and that you might be able to take advantage of some of that knowledge if you decide to join us. Why did they choose Georgetown when they had other options at other schools? I mean, I think all of that information is really valuable, and I love to see our sort of network grow. So if you don't enroll with us, I hope you will decide to connect with some of our students and meet them, hear about their journeys, ask them questions as you try to figure out what's the right next step for you. Any other questions?
I have a question, if that's okay, Mary.
Of course.
My name is Charlene Onyango Obo. I actually have a session scheduled with you for Monday, so it's great to get this information before our session. I was particularly interested in the merit-based scholarships. As a foreign trade lawyer, I have top of mind the February deadline that's coming up, but I was wondering, is it too late to qualify for the scholarships, or is that something that's still?
It's definitely not too late, but I would get your materials in. I wouldn't wait until the deadline, because that's sort of, we always get a flood of applications at the deadline. I would, to the extent you can get everything together and get it in, I would recommend doing that. Someone else asks, can you talk a bit about financial aid, tuition, and scholarship opportunities? So I can provide a link to our tuition for this year. It doesn't finalize for next year until later in the spring, but it'll give you an idea. It doesn't move too much from year to year. Scholarship opportunities, like I said, those all are processed through the Office of Graduate Admissions. So those are questions that I have to direct there. But if you want to send me an email with your questions, what would be helpful, I'm happy to bump it over to them, so you get sort of a direct line to someone who can provide some specifics there. I do think the information, the externally facing information on scholarships can be a bit limited, and I understand how stressful that can be. But we have had a number of students in the Tech LLM who receive very, very generous and very significant merit aid packages. So I do hope you will, if you're interested, like I said, get those application materials together, send them in, and see what happens. Other questions? Like I said, I've dropped my email in the chat. I'll re-up it since there have been some questions coming in since then. You're welcome to send me an email. You're welcome to reach out to schedule. As Charlene mentioned, she's got one with me next week. I try to be very available, and I'm happy to talk one-on-one in addition to these group sessions. I see another question in the chat. Go ahead and either type it in or come off mute. I'm happy to cover it. Maurice, if you're trying to talk, I cannot hear it. Oh, okay, here we go. When and how about scholarship and fellowship processes, and when to start to apply for it. So you don't apply for the scholarships separately from the LLM program. You submit all of your materials for the LLM program, and then you're automatically put into consideration for scholarships. So like I've said, it's a great idea to get those materials finalized and submitted if you're interested in merit aid. And if you have any follow-up questions on that, feel free to send me an email and I will bump it over to the admissions office, which is where all of those decisions are made. Do we have a specific time to start? So applications opened in October. So we're definitely in the midst of it now. And I would recommend, as soon as you're ready, getting those materials in. Other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all for joining. I'll stick around for a few minutes in case anyone wants to hang around until the crowd dissipates. I'm going to stop recording as well in case that helps anyone. And thank you again for joining and for your interest in the program. I hope to meet many of you one-on-one in the coming weeks and months. Have a great rest of your day.